Hey YouTube, this is Lettuce What Ifs. Welcome to part 3.5 of What If Deku was Meliodas' son. This is more of a filler episode, covering the in-between parts of 3 to 4. Here we'll get more introduced to our characters and some of the training leading up to the UA entrance exam, which will be taking place next episode. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord, link in the description. Without further ado, let's get straight into What If Deku was Meliodas' son. Previously, on What If Deku was Meliodas' son. Deku's quirk awoke at last. He saved the girl, but something wasn't right with him. He couldn't explain it, but when he used it, he felt not himself. We find the two at a police station, having a conversation where the girl is revealed to be Ochako Uraraka. What If Deku was Meliodas' son? Part 3.5. We pick up a week later after the incident. To recap fast, Izuku's mother was called. She came rushing, and they explained everything that had happened. And what had been done was highly illegal. Izuku could be in big trouble. But, because of him saving the girl, they offered to cover it up. But in exchange, Izuku had to have quirk counseling done. Now, we cut to Izuku, laying in bed, thinking about what had transpired over the week. He'd been going to multiple classes all week. Being excused from school, he hadn't seen any of his friends this whole week, besides these new classmates. Today was the exam. He'd be free to return to his normal life and see his friends again if he passed. But if he failed, he'd have to attend another week at these classes. Izuku and his mother's relationship had begun to heal during this week, of all these experiences turning out to perhaps be a blessing. Honey, today is your last day of classes. They're going to show you how much you improved. I know you will do great, Inko said, opening the door excitedly. Inko had come into acknowledgement of her son's new late quirk, and had begun to support Deku, which helped him a lot. I'm just ready for it to be over, Izuku said nonchalantly. We find ourselves in a small time skip. Deku walks into the quirk counseling building, stopping at the entrance as he takes a deep breath. Today is the day. I'm ready for this. I've trained hard for this, Deku thought to himself, entering the door of the building and finding his classroom door. Walking in, he saw the others there. Like him, they'd all been in incidents with their quirks, and were trying to learn to control it. Their teacher walked into the classroom shortly after Deku sat down. She put up her glasses and held out a stack of papers in her hand. Class, this is our exam day, as many of you know. Today you'll put in your best efforts to show us how you've improved, and you will either pass or have to attend another week. I trust you've all been training at home, the teacher said. Yes, ma'am, the whole class said in sync. Very good. Now then, everyone move onto the practice room, she said, motioning all the kids to follow her, Izuku following suit. They walked into a room that seemed like a gym. It was more advanced than a usual gym. For example, there were several machines designed to calculate strength, control, weakness, all of the above. Each student was given a piece of paper. Each student will be given an assigned task. They must complete this task to the best of their abilities. These machines will calculate your scores at the end. Anyone who isn't a score over 20 will be attending a second week here, the teacher said as the whole class looked a little nervous. I will be going home, Izuku thought confidently. Flashback. Izuku had arrived at the counseling for the first time. They put him through a similar set of tests. He wasn't able to pass any of the machines with any good score. And when he became frustrated, his quirk activated, and he destroyed 3 of the machines in a rage. Since then, Deku had been working to control his power, to manifest his anger into himself. without tapping into the wrath needed for his mark to appear. Flashback end. Deku took a deep breath, looking at the paper he was given. First, grip test. Second, throw. Third, control. Deku walked up to a table. He could see a small bar that was attached to the machine. He remembered this as a machine that he had broke when he first arrived, as his anger got a control of him. He wrapped one hand around the bar, and then two, and then began to press, breathing slowly and trying to keep his anger under control. Not this time, Deku thought, as he took several more deep breaths. The machine then beeped after a few seconds. His score was an impressive 203 pounds. It was as high as the world record non-quirked grip pressure. Deku smiled to himself, satisfied he hadn't broke the machine. He could control it, he thought to himself. Deku went through the tests, scoring well above average in all of them, until it came time for the strength test. Deku had to hold a bar over his head. Over time, this bar would have more and more weight added onto it. When the student couldn't handle any more weight, they would press a button, and the machine would take the bar from them. Izuku watched as every student went up for their turn, each with interesting results, especially those who didn't have physical quirks. Finally, it was Izuku's turn. "Izuku Midoriya, you're up," the teacher said. "Alright, I got this. I can do this." Izuku remembered what they taught him. Not to forget his anger, but to control it. His quirk was extremely dangerous, and he already saw what he was capable of, both to himself and to others. He wouldn't lose himself again. Deku stepped up to the bar, placing both his hands on the bar and pushing it up. He began to release his anger, powering up his base form as Izuku channeled his anger through the thoughts of people mistreating him, bad memories, anything negative. This seemed to be the trigger to activating Izuku's power. As the bar got heavier, Izuku would let off more anger, not able to activate his mark, but it was enough to increase his strength. At the moment, he was holding 300 pounds, and his arms were shaking. Still too weak, Izuku thought. Izuku flashed back to Uraraka. "I need to be stronger, to protect everyone!" He mentally screamed as more weights were added, equaling up to 350 pounds. Izuku's eyes began to turn black, and his demon mark began to appear. The teacher's eyes went wide when he felt the evil bloodlust coming off of Izuku. She was about to step in when Izuku spoke up. "No, please, I can handle it," Deku said through gritted teeth. More weights were added, but Izuku was not struggling. 800 pounds, the machine said. Izuku's arms were now shaking once again. Izuku thought about tapping into more power, when his mind flashed back to some words that were told to him during this week. "Know your limit, Izuku. Don't push too far. You could hurt yourself, or others." He recalled the words of the teacher when he had an outburst. Izuku pressed the button, the machine taking the bar from him. Izuku's mark began fading away as he returned to normal. Izuku looked up into his classmates and teachers, expecting some kind of negative reaction to him tapping into his dark power, but instead, everyone there began to cheer for Izuku. His eyes lit up. He realized what he had just done. He'd successfully controlled his powers. We move on to the end of class, where Deku was being rewarded. He was given a small pendant and a diploma that marked he had graduated and was now free to return to his normal life. Izuku was about to leave the class. He said farewell to his classmates, but when he was about to leave, his teacher pulled him back in. "Izuku, Before you go, I want to give you some last advice as your teacher. You have some amazing potential. Let nobody define who you are but you. You become who you want to be," she said, bowing to him respectfully, and he did the same. Izuku was about to walk out, but turned around and hugged the teacher one last time. "Thank you, Sensei, for all you taught me," he said, smiling before walking out. Izuku arrived home, greeted his mother, and fell asleep almost immediately. The toll of him tapping into his power had not fully disappeared. Deku awoke a few hours later to a text from Marr. "Hey idiot, you awake? 4 hours ago," it read. Deku picked up his phone and responded. "Yeah? Now I am. What's up?" Deku texted back. "Well, news update for you. But before that, did you pass?" Marr asked. "You bet I did, with flying colors," Deku stated proudly. "Great. Well, I've been missing you, man. Can't wait to hang out again. But that's not why I was texting you," Marr responded. "What is?" Deku asked. "Remember how you told me there was a girl you saved?" Marr asked. "Yeah, what about her?" Deku asked back. "Well, isn't her name Ochako Uraraka?" Marr asked. "Yeah, it is," Deku answered. "She's coming to our school," Marr said in one message before sending another right after. "Rumor is it she's coming because of you." Deku's eyes went wide for a minute, and his face turned red. Flashback. In the police station. "If you ever need me, just stay close. I'll always be there," Deku said comfortingly as they hugged and parted ways. She said something as they left, but he could not make it out. Flashback end. Deku face-palmed. Oh no. What's Kacchan gonna do? Deku began to worry, and then he remembered. He doesn't have to worry about Kacchan anymore. He has a quirk now. He's strong. Just like they taught him. He's strong. He doesn't have anything to fear. Deku picked up his phone and texted back. "I'm actually really excited for that," Deku responded to Marr. "Glad you are, buddy. Now, it's 2 a.m. Go to sleep," Marr said, signing off. Deku looked at his alarm and realized it was indeed 2 a.m. He had slept all day? Deku realized he wasn't going to bed anytime soon. His sleep schedule was now screwed up. He might as well make the best of it. Deku began his meditation exercises. He'd search himself, feeling his dark power, and trying to tune himself in with it. Every time he felt like he got too close, he felt hot. It was burning. This was his limit. He never went past that, because he always had the possibility of going berserk. We move on to the next day of school, where Izuku got there very early. Not having gotten any sleep that night, he simply stayed up for school. Deku sat in his normal spot. Only 2 or 3 people were in the classroom. He sat down at the usual desk they always sat at. Except he noticed on the right side of him there was an extra seat that was not present before. Deku gulped when he noticed this. Other students began arriving, including Marr, which Deku gave a handshake they made up, and Bakugo with his usual prideful nonsense. But surprisingly, he left Deku and Marr alone for the most part. Within the crowd, Deku's eye caught on someone. The teacher walked into class, and by his side was the same girl Deku had saved. All right, settle down, class. I have an announcement," the teacher said boldly. The class almost immediately settled down. "We have a transfer student coming into this class. I hope you will give her a warm welcome." The teacher now motioned for her to introduce herself. The girl stepped forward in front of the class and giving a polite bow. "My name's Ochako Uraraka. I hope we can be great friends here," she said, flashing a smile before taking a seat, smiling at Deku while she sat down. Deku blushed furiously as she walked by and sat next to him. Marr winked at him, not making the situation any better for him. The class went on as normal, Deku getting scolded a few times for either falling asleep or getting distracted by Uraraka's presence. Either way, Deku didn't pay much attention in class. Deku was awoken from one of his near-sleep experiences as the bell rang and lunchtime was announced. Deku stood up from his chair, and his wrist was grabbed by Uraraka, who smiled at him and waved. "Hi, Midoriya. I'm sorry I couldn't say hi earlier. I was in this meeting and they kept me there forever," Uraraka deadpanned. "Oh, it's okay. Hi, Uraraka. How have you been?" Deku asked. "I'm doing, better, I guess? I've been taking therapy and it's been helping a lot. How about you? I assume you passed your quirk classes if you're back here today," Uraraka responded. "Yeah, I did. I learned a lot," Deku said. "I'm glad. It was hard to believe you never had a quirk before that point. You kicked butt out there," Uraraka said with sparkles in her eyes. "Ahem," Marr said, interjecting in the conversation. "You gonna introduce me to your girlfriend, Izuku?" Marr said. Izuku immediately turned completely red. It's not like that. Shut up!" Izuku said, punching Marr in the arm, while Uraraka just turned her head, confused. "Forget him. He's an airhead. Call me Marr. Just Marr, please. I'm Izuku's long-lost adopted brother," Marr said, ruffling up Deku's messy hair. "You two were brothers? I had no idea," Uraraka responded. "Nah, we just call each other that," Marr said. "Oh, that's awesome. A bromance in its truest form," Uraraka said, smiling at the two. "Well, lunchtime is running out. Why don't you join us for lunch?" Marr offered. Deku, who was looking down, brushing profusely and clenching his fist. "Marr, you're gonna regret this, and I'm done with you," he thought to himself as he joined them and walked out of the room. "Midoriya, I heard other kids calling you Deku. Why is that?" the Uraraka asked while they were eating. "It's a name Kacchan gave me to bully me. He thought I was quirkless and he said I was useless because of it, so he called me Deku," Deku explained. "Kacchan?" Uraraka responded, looking puzzled. "Katsuki Bakugo," Marr answered. "He's the school bully. And an idiot." "Oh," Uraraka realized. "Yeah, Kacchan always told me I was worthless, so he'd call me Deku to make fun of me," Deku repeated. "Well, to me, Deku would be an awesome hero name. It sounds like you could do anything. It's kinda cute," Uraraka said. Deku's face immediately went red again, and Marr smirked. "I think he wouldn't mind if you called him that Deku," Marr responded on his behalf. "Oh, really? Deku it is," Uraraka responded to Marr. What just happened?" Deku thought to himself. "So, Deku, do you have any plans in your future?" Uraraka asked. "I want to become a hero, just like All Might. He's my idol, and I want to be like him more than anything." "Me too," Uraraka said, jumping in the air from her seat, making everyone look at her, causing her to blush from embarrassment and sit back down. "I mean, I'm gonna be a hero too," Uraraka said. "Looks like our path meets 3 ways," Marr said, twirling a knife on his finger. "That's kinda dangerous, don't you think?" Uraraka asked concerningly. "Nah, I regenerate," Marr said, smirking. "In fact, what is your quirk?" Marr asked. "Oh, gravity. Gravity. Basically anything I touch I can make float. Although, it's only small things. But recently I've been learning how to make bigger things float. Although if I push myself too hard, I'll throw up," Uraraka said, remembering some less than pleasant memories. "That's so cool," Deku thought when he heard about her quirk. We cut to the end of school. Everybody had left the school except the trio. Marr looked at both of them. Look guys, I got a lot of homework to do. I'm not gonna lie. Izu, without you here, I procrastinated all week. So I'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Marr said, flashing a peace sign and walking away, smiling and leaving a flustered Izuku and a waving Uraraka who was oblivious. So, where are you staying now? Izuku asked. Oh, I'm with my grandma now. She lives in an apartment. I think she took the news way worse than me, Uraraka said, looking down at the ground with sadness. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, Deku said before getting cut off. No, don't apologize. You did more than enough for me, and I can't thank you enough, she said, pulling him into a tight hug, which she cried in. Deku blushed and hugged her back. I haven't been getting any sleep for the past few nights. Every time I close my eyes, I see gunshots. I see their bodies. I don't feel safe anymore, Uraraka whispered to him. But today, being with you, I felt safe again. I can't explain it, or how it felt, but it was like when I was just with you, the pain went away, Uraraka said, opening up. Deku didn't know what to say. He was stunned. He had no experience talking to girls. She was hugging him and opening it up. You probably don't know what to say. I don't blame you. But can I just ask one thing of you tonight? Just for tonight? Uraraka said, releasing him from the hug. Deku nodded. Could I maybe stay with you at your place? Uraraka asked. Deku's face grew to look like a tomato. Yeah, sure. But would your grandmother approve of that? Deku asked. She was the one who recommended it, she explained. Oh, sure, okay. Let me go check with my mom first, Deku said, stepping away, pulling out his phone. Oh my god, she just hugged me and now she wants to come over, oh my god. Deku began to freak out in his head when he started to call his mom. Thankfully, she said yes. Inko met Uraraka that night, and they had a pleasant night. They ate dinner. Izuku and Uraraka began to get to know each other more. Inko knew about her situation and was happy to let her stay, and even sleep in Izuku's bed while he'd sleep on the floor. Although she warned that nothing PG-13 was to happen in that room, and that she'd be watching. At the confusion of Uraraka and the blushing and denial of Deku. Deku laid in a sleeping bag. He looked over one last time at Uraraka, who was sleeping comfortably in his bed. Deku began drifting off to sleep. Later in the night, he heard a noise and small cries. He woke up and rubbed his eyes, and noticed Uraraka, who was rolling around in his bed, crying. Deku got up and remembered what she said about him being near her. Deku got up against the side of the bed and grabbed her hand, thinking of the only thing he could do to comfort her. He gently held her hand against his chest to feel his heartbeat and let her know he was there. Uraraka's nightmare had seemed to calm and eventually stop as her cries slowed, and eventually you could see a smile on her face. Deku kneeled down to the bed and held her hand. He fell asleep like this, much to his dismay. Unknown to him, while he had done this, a warm light began to shine from Deku's arm into her hand. This light then went inside of Uraraka and disappeared. Deku awoke the next morning to a confused Uraraka looking at him, being way too close. Ah! Deku screamed as he fell backwards and hit his head. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Uraraka asked. Yeah, Deku said when holding his head. He swore for a second he saw her eyes change. They were different. They were bright with a beautiful color. and with this odd glowing symbol in them. But he fell back and blinked, and they were back to normal. Imagination. Jeez. Deku rubbed the back of his head. End of part 3.5. Hey guys! Thank you so much for checking out 3.5. I know it's much more of a filler episode, but expect these every now and then, as little slice of life and backstory moments. Anyway, thank you for all the new subscribers. I've been getting way more than I expected. I don't do YouTube for subs, but I'm glad you guys enjoy my content enough to subscribe, so thanks. Anyway, if you like this, hit the like button and leave a comment. Let me know feedback on what you guys think and what could be improved and what you guys liked about it. I'd love to hear some conversations with you guys. Join my Discord in the description. Link in the description. Bye. This was Lettuce What Ifs, signing out.